it is a Thomasville takeover. But in all actuality and honesty, the takeover began Wednesday night in the Macon Centerplex. Thomasville marched all over Vidalia in the GHSA AA State Championship, 66-31. The win marked their first basketball title in program history. Head coach Ben Tillman has knocked on that door for years, and finally in his 11th season on the bench, he broke through. And for that, we welcome him into the WALB studios to celebrate this championship season. Coach Tillman, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you
see
both.
Coach.
Yes, sir.
And also, in all honesty, again, we have to also welcome John Barron into Sports Talk, making his debut onto the show. And for the first question for you, Coach Tillman, right there, state champion, how does it feel to have that trophy in your possession?
It feels great, man. I mean, it's a long time coming for our school, long time coming for me as a coach. I mean, to be the first to do something is really hard to start off with, but it's very rewarding as well. And so you know you've had a chance to do something that no one else has done so far. And so hopefully you laid the foundation for other people to be able to come behind you and do the same thing.
Very special. I was in the Macon Centerplex for that. And John, with this being your debut, you do the honors and show the people what they missed.
Oh, thank you so much. And you know what? Both Thomasville and Vidalia seeking their first ever state title in the AA State Championship. Out of the gates, it was all Bulldogs. Reggie Perry gets the steal, pushes it ahead to Vontarius Woolbright, who lays it in. Thomasville would start off with a 13-0 run and never look back. Vidalia answers with a three, but wait, don't celebrate just yet because Woolbright with the transition dunk. He had 10 in the first quarter alone. Thomasville just getting started. Adrian McQueen with the strip up to Perry, and he gets an easy transition one-handed slam. It would turn to a dunk party. All white jerseys invited. Woolbright to Perry, alley-oop. He would again with the one-handed slam. Later, it's Woolbright to Perry to Titus Wright for the slam. The crowd loves it. This one was not even close. Thomasville goes on to win their first ever basketball state championship. They finished the season 28-3. Certainly a game to remember forever. Coach, tell us how that felt to win that.
It felt huge, man, to be able to watch the kids and be able to see them execute what you had planned to do all week. And to see them be able to share the basketball and play unselfishly is a tremendous feat for what we were trying to accomplish. We had so many talented kids, and not to be focused on just one player, but to be focused on all 15 kids was really huge for our program.
Now, Coach, you told me that 4 of your 5 starters are coming back. What does that mean for your team coming into this next season?
Well, it means a lot. I mean, the expectation should be high, just like it is for us every year, but even more so, you have 7, 8 seniors coming back. Rising seniors coming up, and they should be able to lead us back to this place, hopefully. We got Vontarius Woolbright, which is an excellent guard. Got Titus Wright and JoJo, so they'll be the main focus point on the team. And then you got those freshmen, Adrian McQueen and Clifford Davis, and then we got a big, I call him the glue. That's going to be his new nickname, the Glue. Taylor House coming back to help us to continue to formalize that team to make it a great team with 10 players. And so he'll be an extreme part to that. And so I'm just excited.
Right. And you mentioned McQueen, the freshman on the big stage, 5 steals in that state championship win.
Right.
And I know one of the first things you wanted to talk about when I spoke to you after the win was defense. And defense did win championships for you guys. Let's take a look at some of the stats. We have a graphic to show some of the stats for the defensive performance right there. You guys held Vidalia to 10 points in the first half. You were up 41-10 at the intermission. The Indians went 2 for 25 on 3-pointers. Y'all had 7 blocks and 8 steals. And overall throughout the whole game, they shot 25.5% from the field. I mean, what was that defensive dominance performance look like? And how did you feel on the bench as a coach watching your team go out there and execute that way?
At first, I didn't realize what the score was. And all I saw was a young kid hit the 3. And I was like, wait a minute, he's not supposed to be open. And so when I got mad on the bench, but then the coach said, hey, coach, they only got 5 points. I was like, but he just made a 3. He's not supposed to be able to make a shot. And so we got into him at that point, but then when you go back at halftime, you start really looking at the numbers and seeing how well you've dominated the team and where they was taking shots from. And I think that was the key. We pushed them so far out that it was outside of their comfort zone. And I think the depth perception of the facility helped us with that, because I don't think they realized how far away they were. And they were shooting so many deep threes. It was just really hard for them to score.
Yeah, and then John, I know you, as you watch those highlights, along with the great defense, that defense turned into offense, and it was a dunk party. John, you weren't there to witness it. 6 dunks in the first half, though. The crowd was loving it. John, as you see those slams, I mean, and I checked on this on Twitter and stuff, and I got it verified. They had to get the rims checked out for the next game and delayed the next game. John, you seeing that? I mean, and the coach, I mean, what was that like?
Wow, man, I didn't know anything about the tweet until we got on the bus, and the kids say, Coach, they had to repair the goals. I was like, nah, man, y'all stop playing. And then when I actually got on Twitter and saw it, it was a reality. But yeah, it was really nice to see. We play this game in practice called 5 transition, and our first outlet is our first out the rebounds. We're looking for the deep pass, and so we've done that all throughout the season. In this particular game, we felt like that they wasn't trying to get back as quick. When we watched the film, they wasn't in transition defense. They was trying to set up their full court press, which the other guys kind of loafed back. And so we said, we get it, we're just going to push it. And so we pushed it, and Adrian did a great job, and Reggie did a great job of getting the ball up the floor, and the bigs was running. They were running their lanes, and it ended up with dunks.
Yeah, now, Coach, like you were telling me, it just looked like everybody was having fun. Obviously, it was a dominating performance, both on offense and defensive side, but it just looked like everybody was smiling. Every shot, I told you, I was saying, everybody just looked like they were having fun. This was just an all-around great game, but also for your team to just sit there and have a team's team.
Yeah, and I think that was a key. The practice before is really what set the tempo for the way they performed yesterday. Because I really got into them in practice because I felt like they wasn't focused enough. And so when we got into them on practice and when they came back and then when we got in at the pregame, I just told them, say, look, this is the last one. You leave everything on the floor, but the one thing I want you to do is have fun in the process. And they did that. And they went out there and they played hard and they played together. And you can see that they really enjoyed the process. And whether anybody make a mistake or not, they continue, hey, it's going to be okay. We got it. And that's what I really want to see. 100% effort from everybody that participated.
Right. Now, the championship, obviously the cherry on top, and especially the exclamation point, the way you did it. But let's take a look at that full playoff run that got you to the Macon Centerplex. Started in round 1 at home against a tough Swainsboro team. You guys edged out a 6-point win there. Then you get Dublin at home, another team that was pretty impactful. A lot of people said it's a chance for an upset. Get a 12-point victory at home. Elite 8. Against Spencer on the road in Columbus, Thomasville. You guys showed up big and blew them out the waters. Did the same thing when you guys were out in Milledgeville at Georgia College and State University against Glen Hills in the Final Four. And then you guys made it to the actual state championship game. What was that playoff run like? How did those first 2 rounds particularly prepare you guys for the last 3 games? Well,
the first 2 rounds, in my opinion, was redemption rounds for me. When I first started coaching, I lost to Swainsboro. And I lost to Swainsboro. They was #1 team. We were #4 team. And I lost to them. Then we turned around 3 years later or 4 years later, lost to them again in the Elite 8. So I had a little chip on my shoulder about that game. And so when we came out and I told my wife, I said, I'm not losing Swainsboro. We just can't do it. And so the score doesn't really tell you the whole story of how well we dominated the whole game. They hit some threes late in the last 2 minutes of the game, but it really was a well-controlled game by us. And then the Dublin game was another game that we lost to when I coached with Kellogg. They had a player by the name of Ben Smith, and he really lit us up in the state finals. And there was another chip on my shoulder. I was like, nope, we're not going to lose to Dublin. And so when we sat down, me and the coaches strategized about where we were going to attack them and what we were going to do to make sure that we came on top. And we did a great job with that, and the kids just executed and performed. And if you remember in that game, in that Dublin game, Reggie really didn't have a good game. I mean, it was Vonterius Woolbright that carried us for the most part. And I mean, that's what it takes. It takes a group of kids that believe in each other and that's coming up and play. In the Spencer game, I know you didn't ask about it, but Taylor House came up. He had 12, 16 points in that game. Here's a kid that nobody scouted, and he comes up and get bucket after bucket after bucket. And I mean, those important keys to the game and important keys to a tournament play.
Right. Well, you spoke of Taylor House. You speaking him into existence as he's actually in the house, and we're going to have him right after the break. We got Coach Ben Tillman. We got the state champions in the house. Right after the break, we'll talk to a few of the players, including Taylor House of the state champion Thomasville Bulldogs.
We're a good team. It just wasn't our night. The Better Ball Club won tonight, but I'm so proud of these kids because we come a long way.
We're going to be back next year. Remember, we're going to be back next year. We're going to come back harder than we did this year.
Most of us played some of our AAU ball, we just go and work and try to get back in next year.
Welcome back into Sports Talk with Theo Dorsey. I'm joined by some of the Thomasville basketball players, Coach Benjamin Tillman of the AA State Champions. What you just saw was from March 13th, 2010. Coach Tillman, I don't want to bring up sore spots, but you spoke about the revenge tour you almost went on in these playoffs. Can you speak to that moment? You remember that was in the same venue, a loss that time against GHSA. You guys came up just short right at the end, but what was that like? And I know you guys felt you would get right back. Didn't make it back to the state championship game again until this time. You finished the job. What was that moment like, though, knowing the season was over and you didn't get the ultimate prize?
Well, at that particular time, it was like it really hurt because you had a talented team, but you had a talented young team. So you assumed that you was going to be able to get back to the state finals. But yeah, as things go, sometimes you don't take advantage of your opportunities when they're there. And I think that team, we did not take advantage of our opportunities. So when I said to myself, if I ever got back into that spot, I'm going to make sure that I put these kids in the right situations so that they can take advantage of the opportunities, because tomorrow it wasn't promised. Just like Willie said, you heard him say, oh, we'll be back next year. And we didn't get back. And things happened that those kids kind of broke apart, and so they didn't get a chance to finish the drill. But these group of seniors that we have this year, they stuck together. And they in the 11th graders, they really stuck together, and they honed in what they wanted, and they really pushed through to get to it.
And that's a blessing to see, and to witness it all come to fruition. And again, you might have taken it a little bit for granted getting to that stage, but now you got back there, you finished the job. So I don't want to leave you guys in suspense. I want to get these guys introduced to you. You know them as the Thomasville Bulldog basketball players. Let's get them introduced. Say your first and last name and your position. And you guys are both rising seniors, right?
No, I'm a senior.
You are a senior. Okay, so you can speak it into the mic.
My name is Cornelius Barnhill, and I play shooting guard.
Shooting guard.
All right, my name is Taylor House, and I play small forward.
Taylor House. And
I'm Benjamin Tillman III, and I play shooting guard.
And you can call them all state champions. And we have them here because I wanted to make sure you saw that. You saw the moment where the players and Coach Tillman came up just short of the state championship. They almost took for granted that they would get back there. You guys were able to accomplish that goal of not only getting back there, but winning it. And I want, I'll start here. And what was it like to see it through fruition and get the championship over Vidalia?
It was surreal. Like, we worked hard all year. And last year we lost in the second round to Two, and it was like a dream come true. A dream come true.
Yeah, that's real though. It was a dream come true, and for you guys, it wasn't one of those things where it wasn't. I don't want to say it wasn't suspenseful, because obviously it's still the state championship. You enjoy the moments, but it was kind of out of hand after the first quarter. How did you guys stay focused, and then still, what did it feel like when that buzzer sounded off and you guys were jumping around like you see there?
Well, when that buzzer sounded off, it was just, I just couldn't believe it that we actually won state championship. Everybody stuck together. We trusted in one another and each other, and we just pulled it through.
You guys are now the talk of the town, and what was it like to be in that Macon Centerplex and see kind of see everybody? I mean, you got the crowd celebrating. Everybody's like, wow, this actually happened, because a lot of times people were saying throughout the year, Thomasville's that team that has the talent but doesn't finish it out, but you guys did.
It was great. I mean, like, just to see the whole city behind you and see the players from the past that were there, just to see the people who's all been behind the team, the parents of the players. I mean, it was just really nice. I mean, plus we won, and we worked really hard all year, so it was just great. Now,
you probably remember it better than anybody else. I mean, how old were you back in 2010 when that went down?
Actually, my birthday was on March 10th, 3 days before the game. So I was there sitting on the bench. I was crying just along with them, because I know how hard they worked. I was at every practice. I was the ball boy, shooting around on the side goals, just watching everything. So it was hard for me, too.
Right, and then for you to be able to, you saw the look on your dad's face. Now, somebody told me, I don't know if this is correct, that you were doing snow angels on the ground afterwards. You got to speak up to that, Coach Tillman. And you got a mic on, so.
Yeah, I did it. I told the guys, I said, if I win state championship, I'm going to fall on the floor and I'm going to do a snow angel. I didn't say where I was going to fall on the floor, but I did fall on the floor, and I did my snow angel on the sideline. And I mean, that's what it's about. It's about pure joy. And anytime you're able to accomplish your goal, you got to relish in the moment. And sometimes professionalism is not the right way to act at that time. And so when I want to show a little bit of childlike mentality,
to support my kid. And that's what children would do if it was snowing. They'll fall out on the floor, on the ground, and do snow angels. So I said that's what I was going to do.
What was it like to see Pops like that?
I mean, it was crazy because he always said he was gonna do it, and I never believed him, but he did it. So.
And you're a man of your word, because it wasn't, like I said, the game was over in the first quarter. I know at some point during the game, maybe in halftime, when you're up 41-10, you're like, man, I got to do this snow angel. Like, I got to do this in front of everybody. Did you ever consider not getting down there and doing it?
No, I did not. That was something that I said I was going to do, and I hold true to my word. I mean, I tell the kids all the time, I mean, you only have your word. And so, but I really wanted to do that. I hope my superintendent is not mad at me, but at the same time, it showed a true level of passion for what you do. And no matter what it is, whether it's a basketball game or football game, you got to love the process. And sometimes the reward is not what you want at the end. And so, but this particular time, we were able to get our reward, and I was happy for that. And I wanted to just demonstrate to the children how happy I was.
Right now, in your house, you're a rising senior, right? You'll be a senior next year. So, and he talked about how you got a new nickname, Glue. You're going to have to be a big part of this group next year, and you guys have a lot of people coming up, probably more eyes on you, taking you guys seriously. What does that feel like to know that, not only do you have the state championship, but there's a second table, there's space for another trophy there?
Yes, sir. I just feel like, coming back over the summer, everybody, we got to stay in shape, work hard, make sure everybody stays connected, and, we just make sure that everybody has the same mentality that we had this season past, just trying to win another state championship.
Now, a lot of people will say, they'll look to the fact that you guys this year had the McDonald's All-American and Reggie Perry, who we see doing the big highlight slams and stuff, but also you got Woolbright, you got the freshman McQueen who gets the steal right there, freeing up Perry for the slam, and you got Titus Wright, the other giant down low to hold down the paint. How confident, and I'll start right here and I'll ask all three of you as players, how confident are you in this next year's group?
I mean, I really feel like they can do it again, because, I mean, even though I think it was one game this year where Reggie wasn't in, and everybody else was, they were running it up and scoring like it was nothing. So I believe they got a good chance. I'm confident.
And I feel like with the group we having coming back next year, we'll be able to just still play the same way we played this year. Just play up tempo and just blow everybody out. Really.
What'd you think?
I believe they can do it because they're the juniors and they've been here. They had a lot of experience, so they know what to do to get another ring.
Of course. And then Coach Tillman, I got to ask as well. This is partially for me, partially for the community. And right before we go to break, I want to know what is the next plan. I mean, before we look towards next year's basketball season, you got to celebrate the championship. Have you guys talked about celebration so far? What was the thing you guys did as a team first? And then next, what is going to be the community celebration that you guys are planning?
Well, we're planning to do have a parade on next Thursday, and we talked about what type of rings and style we wanted on the way up here, and I let these guys choose since they were the ones that volunteered to come with me, and so everybody else just got to really just sit in the back. So these guys will decide what kind of design we'll have for our rings, and then as a group, after that stuff is over, I want to get the community stuff out of the way first and let it really settle in, and then we're gonna come back together as just one family and have us a little cookout, a little barbecue or something at my place, and just really enjoy each other. And it's also going to be kind of like a send-off because we're going to have some players getting ready to leave. My son will be leaving, going to play football, and so we got some kids that'll be moving on, and so we want to celebrate that. But we don't want our family to get caught up in what the community got. So we want to give the community their space to get and celebrate with us, and then we want to wait and then hold back, and then we can really enjoy one another.
And bask in it. You guys should enjoy it as the state champions. We're going to go to a quick break. Right afterwards, I'm going to kick Tillman off for a quick second, and we're going to have a little players-only segment where I talk to a couple of the guys about that feeling as well as about the feeling of moving forward with the Bulldog program. Welcome back to Sports Talk with Theo Dorsey. I'm joined by the 28-3 and also Class AA GHSA state champion Thomasville Bulldogs. And for this portion, I wanted it to be quick by my own choice, and I wanted to just get you guys to each pick one word to describe what this championship season felt like. I'll start here with Ben.
Teamwork.
Teamwork.
Hard work.
Hard work.
Greatness.
Greatness. I like it. I like it. Teamwork, hard work, and greatness. That was the culmination that came together, and that made the puzzle that turned into a state championship for these Thomasville Bulldogs. This was players only. I brought just the players here. I want to get Coach Tillman back. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to go to a quick break again, get Coach Tillman back in the building, and then we're going to wrap up here on Sports Talk. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Thursday night. Coach Tillman came back, and we are glad to have him right back. And Coach, I want you, AA state champions, can you just give a message to the community? They traveled a long way to the Centerplex. They supported you all year. What's your closing message to those who love the Thomasville Bulldogs?
I just want to say thank you. I mean, when you sit back and you sit on the bench and you watch those guys and you look out across on both sides of the court and you see nothing but a sea of red, that means a lot.
All right, that's perfect. Well, it means a lot that you guys made the trip up to join us. Thanks for joining Sports Talk. Congratulations to the Thomasville community. We'll see you next Thursday night.